This is ICAStnews.com, live and direct from the United Nations in New York City, and this is Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over. What may be bubbling over this weekend, maybe bubbling over in the next few days, is the situation on the border between two poor Central American states, Nicaragua and Honduras. We are, in fact, in the next days, looking for a test of the teetering diplomacy that teeters between resolution through diplomacy or perhaps war, a test of nerves, a test of tactics, and a test of toleration. What is going on with Honduras? The ousted president of Honduras, Manuel Zelaya, has moved to a border town just off the border between Nicaragua and Honduras. He has arrived in a white Jeep. He has an entourage with him and his family. He says the failure of diplomacy kicked off by the President of the General Assembly of the United Nations, which has failed to restore him to order, has forced him to march or drive across the border in his white Jeep and to go home to reclaim his office as President of Honduras. For weeks, the drama of diplomacy has been watched, especially in the Western Hemisphere, particularly by Latin American diplomats. President of Costa Rica, Oscar Arias, a Nobel Prize-winning negotiator, has said, if the Israelis and the Palestinians can get together, why can I not get the two sides, the ousted President Zelaya and his rival, the man who forced him out of office with a military assistance, Micheletti, to get together, to agree. Mr. Micheletti won't even meet with some of the negotiators from the Organization of American States. So, in the test of tactics, the ousted president is threatening to drive back into his country. He says, I am returning precisely because justice is on my side. I'm not talking about the justice of Micheletti, a coup leader. That's a different kind of justice that does not recognize the will of the people and democracy. Rhetoric which has a co-compartment of anti-Americanism. The Americans have not put pressure to have Zelaya come back. They have backed the negotiations. But push is coming to shove because of Zelaya's tactics. This will not only be a test of the news. This will be a test of diplomacy, a test of toleration in the United States, and a test of nerves. Who's going to crack first if Zelaya crosses the border? Will the troops who are there to enforce a no-drive zone? Will Micheletti succeed in having him arrested? Will soldiers arrest their former president? Will they shoot at a man accompanied by his wife and children? This is a test of diplomacy. Can diplomatic initiatives, led so far by a Nobel Peace Prize winning negotiator, can diplomacy engaged in by the President of the Organization of American States, can diplomacy spearheaded by the President of the General Assembly of the United Nations undo a coup? Or will it prove that all power comes out of the barrel of a gun, and whoever has the bigger gun will have the bigger victory in the coming battle on the border between Nicaragua and Honduras? Watching the test, ICAStnews.com, live and direct from the United Nations. For Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over, I'm Jonathan Sanders.